We've got an exciting game here for you as the Indianapolis Colts fly down to Atlanta to take on the Falcons. And this is exciting for us because Ryan and I will actually be in attendance at this game. So if you see us, we would love to say hi to anybody if you're actually watching our show. That's one just phenomenal. And so, but we'll be at this game. So if you're going to be at this game and you see us, absolutely feel free to say hello. Crucial game for both these teams. The Colts are sitting at 8-6 and are in the wild card spot right now, sitting at the 7th seed, tied with the Cincinnati Bengals, who are at 6, but they lose the tiebreaker to them. And then also one game behind the Browns, who are the 5th seed overall. The Falcons are on the outside looking in, and now definitely on the outside looking in, as they lost to the Carolina Panthers 9-7. This
the Patriots lost a game 6-0 earlier in the season. So
cry me river. But they are also now one game back on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the New Orleans Saints. Both those teams are 7-7. And I don't think the tiebreakers now favor the Atlanta in either of those games. So they're going to need a lot of help to make the playoffs here. And, man, Ryan, I'll just say to the Falcons community, I will say I think that there's a lot to be complained about with Arthur Smith. But that being said, though, man, he's not throwing the ball. Like, how many games has Desmond Ridder lost for us? Like, I can understand an argument about play calling. I can maybe understand an argument about his overall demeanor, how his head's in the play sheet. But man, Ryan, it's Desmond Ridder seems like a great guy and he's trying super hard. But man, he's got more turnovers I think this year than games in a total season. 10 picks.
Yeah.
And it's not even like there's a good overall sense of he'll lead a bunch of good drives. And we were talking with Dad about this earlier, but it's not like Peyton Manning where he'll have 48 passes in a game and 45 of them look great. 3 of them just happen to be picks.
Yeah.
No, it's no, there's a lot of horrible throws pretty consistently. And I go look at some of these other rookie quarterbacks, and we're watching the Titans game as well on the multi-view. I go look at Will Levis and Will Levis has the command of the offense. He's able to sling the ball down the field. He's able to move well within the pocket and make his reads, check down, call audibles. I'm just not seeing that from Ridder. I don't know if that's where I guess probably as a Falcons nation, we don't know internally what his role, what he's allowed to do, what audibles he's allowed to make or what the check down is. And there definitely have been some questionable calls. So I don't want to take that away from Arthur Smith. But, man, maybe – I want to make the playoffs because then when you get to January, anything can happen. But maybe us not make the playoffs wouldn't be the worst thing because then we can finally see what an Arthur Smith type offense could be with a legit quarterback. I know the first season of Arthur Smith, it was with Matt Ryan, who was a legit quarterback throughout his career, potential Hall of Famer in my opinion. But it's also the clear tail end of his career. They did not have the personnel or the weapons to even make it interesting. For them to compete. And last year with Marcus Mariota and now with Desmond Ridder, we haven't had a true quarterback in this system or a true elite quarterback in the system ever, so to say. And I'm saying that with Matt Ryan specifically, the final couple of years of his career, he was not an elite quarterback. So I love you in the comments what you think of that statement. Matt Ryan is an elite Hall of Fame quarterback, as I said, in my opinion. The last year, his first year with Arthur Smith, he was not an elite quarterback. Everybody wanted him.
But nobody on the Falcons team at that point was a lead. And I will say that I think this team, it has a lot of potential. I just think you guys need somebody to come in here who, this is going to sound so stupid, but just doesn't make dumb mistakes.
Yes.
Right? Because I think if you guys were running the football more, you would be one of the top rushing teams in the league. You guys drafted Bijan at 8, and I feel like you guys haven't used him to his full potential.
A lot of people in Falcons Nation would agree with you, for sure.
Yeah, and for me, that just doesn't make sense. But then also, this offensive line, I mean, it was pretty much the same except the addition of Matthew Bergeron, who you think would be an improvement considering where they drafted him. And then this defense, you guys have a really good pass defense, and your run defense was serviceable. But then David Onyemata got hurt, Grady Jarrett got hurt.
Actually, our run defense was one of the best in the league. But to your point of what you're about to say,
yeah, but it's since fallen off. like
due
to injuries. And injuries do happen, and I think you need to establish depth on your roster, but you're not going to be able to do that at every position. And so, like, yeah, sometimes it happens, but then, like you said, I think Arthur Smith has put them in a lot of really good situations this year. And I think they've just, like, the players have found ways to make mistakes to
get
out.
At one point too,
And that does fall back on coaching a little bit, because you have to coach your players in situational football to know what to do and what not to do.
To one point though, I'm seeing, and don't get me wrong, I wish Bijan got a lot more. He is leading the team in rushing yards, leading the team actually not in rushing touchdowns. Desmond Ridder is, but then he also reception wise. 40 catches on the year, 320 receiving yards, and 3 receiving touchdowns as well. He does have what would be now 3 fumbles on the season. I think that's one of the things people talked about today, specifically with the Panthers game, and like why was not getting the ball more, especially then too after that 3rd fumble, which set up the 2nd field goal of the Panthers. And this is one of the things with drafting Bijan, and I'm happy with Bijan. I love Bijan. So, but we do also have a 1,000-yard rusher in Tyler Algier as well, who is more veteran status, and he hasn't had a fumble so far this season. Not that according to Pro Football Reference, and there's a little bit more ball security that you need today in such a soaked game today. It was just raining nonstop. But that being said, though, to your point and to a lot of people's points, doesn't seem like you're utilizing the guys correctly, or Desmond Ridder just can't find the guys. And that's where it's like, I think you need to go get an elite QB talent like a Jaden Daniels or Drake May, or go trade up and get Caleb Williams on this team. Because you're right. Hypothetically, we did the Chargers preview video and talked about how the LA is actually kind of a desirable spot for coaching with all the weapons that they have and just talent that they have in general. If they let go of Arthur Smith this offseason, I would say Atlanta would be up there as well. You go look at this, you have a top 5 defense. And I think you can sign a lot of these guys back. And you've even had some great talents that came out of nowhere, like Nate Landman, who was undrafted. So defensively, I think you're set. And you know that this rookie coach that comes in is going to have an amazing defense. It's going to be able to help him out. And on top of that, you still got Drake London, who I think is an underrated talent in the league. Kyle Pitts hasn't really been utilized nearly that well. You got Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algier. So those are 4 solid weapons right there. And on top of that, too, this draft class is loaded with other good number 2 receivers. And I think that's the thing. No one's really talking about that as well with Atlanta, is we need a number 2 receiver. We need that speedster receiver. Like, I'm looking right now, we're sitting 10th right now on the depth chart. If we go and get a Malik Neighbors or Rome Odunze, who we might have to trade up and go and get, I'm totally fine for that. Heck, actually, at that point, I don't see no one's going to trade back and give away Marvin Harrison Jr. But potentially go and get that, like, an elite receiver like that. It'll help spread out the defense more. I think it will take guys out of the box, and I think that's another thing that this team needs, outside of obviously then our pressing need at quarterback. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens in the offseason. I will say I've tried to defend Desmond Ridder as much as I possibly can, and it is just not working. It's just not working out for this team. So for his performance in general. So it's going to be tough. And then now they're going to be going up against this Colts team who just put up 170 plus rushing yards on the Pittsburgh Steelers, and Gardner Minshew and company seem to be rolling. Shane Pickens got them playing extremely well. Curious for them, though, Michael Pittman does have a concussion.
That was just an atrocious hit by DeMonte Casey.
Yeah. He's going to get a fine at minimum.
Oh, at minimum. But that's going to be interesting. This offense didn't really seem to skip too much of a beat with him out of it. I think they still put up 17 more points throughout the course of the game. 23 more points throughout the course of the game. And
I wonder how much of that, though, was the Steelers. I mean, Trey Sermon had 88 rushing yards. Zach Moss got hurt. He would have had over 100 rushing yards. Also, Jonathan Taylor. I think they just knew how to down, and that's where I think this Colts are at their best. So this offensive line is phenomenal. You give Gardner Minshew time to make the right reads, get Josh Downs open, get Michael Pittman open as well. And then you're getting good play out of whichever running back is in the backfield for the Colts. So,
yeah, well, and that was going to bring me to my next point. I think Michael Pittman will probably be out. Usually, concussion protocol, you're missing the next game at minimum.
I've seen guys make it, but
yeah, I would say 8 or 9 times out of 10 you're missing the next game. But Shane Steichen did come out and say that Jonathan Taylor is feeling good, and it looks like he could be making his reappearance on Christmas Eve.
Yay!
Yeah, and that would be huge. He's such a dynamic threat out of the backfield, and if he does return, I think it would be in a limited amount. But still, having a guy like that out there would be good for this offense, especially kind of what I mentioned earlier in the video. I think this Falcons run defense at one point was good, but just due to injuries on that defensive front seven, really. I mean, even Troy Anderson and who's the other linebacker? Is he
Troy Anderson was a second-round pick. He got hurt. He had season-ending shoulder surgery, I believe.
Yeah, but didn't his backup got hurt, didn't he?
No, not. No, I think Nate Landman was his backup. I'd have to go back and double check. But Nate Landman's been playing great. I mean, Nate Landman missed last week.
That's what I'm thinking of.
He hurt his knee. Caden Ellis has been phenomenal, though. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, and we're also starting to get like ready for our 2024 season recaps. I'm trying to think for each team I want to have like an MVP of the team. And to me, it's like for the Falcons, and this is like the leader of this defense. To me, and I'm glad we got him for a couple of years. But Jesse Bates has just been phenomenal. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, there's so many guys on this defense. I think you can make an argument for MVP. I think Caden Ellis and AJ Terrell have made serious arguments. Calais Campbell also. But Jesse Bates, just his leadership, I think, on that team and how just physical he plays has just been phenomenal. And that's the thing. That's what sucks, too, about our struggles on the offensive side is if we could have figured it out. I mean, this defense – and we got hurt, but this defense is top 5 in the league. I mean, I'd put them up against –
yeah, you guys are missing. I know you have Grady Jarrett, but I would say like a true difference maker in a pass rush. Like you don't have a true solid edge rusher, but I think you guys are very balanced in that attack. So
yeah, it's something that we'll definitely address in the offseason. I hope we don't take a guy in the first round with an edge rusher just because of how elite this receiving class is, but. That's a conversation for another day. Let's get into our picks here. But before we do that, if you have not already, like, subscribe, and ring the bell to get notified whenever we create new content. Ryan and I, we have one final goal for the year, and that is to get to 2,333 subscribers. The reason why we chose that odd number is if we hit that number by New Year's Day, we would have gotten 2,000 unique subscribers within this calendar year. From 333 to 2333. Never honestly would have thought that we could have gotten that. So if you're still with us, like, subscribe, and ring the bell. And Ryan, who do you have winning this game and why?
I'm going with the Indianapolis Colts. I think they're just the better team in this matchup. I think they're playing for more. I think this loss today to the Carolina Panthers was really demoralizing for the Falcons. And I think the Colts, they really hit a rhythm on the offensive side of the ball, especially in the second half. I think they were really dominant against the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I with that also being said, this Colts defense, while they don't have the greatest secondary, their front seven is really good. And I see the Falcons maybe struggling a little bit coming into this matchup. Just I think mentally with people are starting to make business decisions going into the offseason. And then also physically, I think this Colts front is going to be really hard for this offense to overcome. And then again, I'll not to completely throw Desmond Ridder under the bus, but I'm going to. He just makes too many mistakes. He had back-to-back games with 3 turnovers, I believe, and then he had another one today that you were telling me was just a horrible decision. As a whole, and it just seems like that has kind of encompassed their entire season. It's like they'll get down to the 15 or like in the red zone, and then he'll just chuck one right to a defender. And
that
the Colts have been feasting on teams like that for this entire season.
That interception when it was 7-6 and they were at the Carolina 15 with 7 minutes left. If you're a Falcons fan, you know exactly which throw I'm talking about. It kind of embodied the entire season as like a Falcons fan of it's like, I'll keep it family friendly, but it's like, what the freak are you looking at? like what was your decision-making process during that time? Like no thought process is seen about the game management of it's like, you could go out of bounds or you could kick a field goal and make them have to score a touchdown. And scoring a touchdown in this game with how sloppy it is extremely difficult today. You know, your defense has bailed you out all year, you know, and it seems actually not all year. I saw a stat where it's like 4 of the last 4 Falcons losses have all happened within like the last 90 seconds of games or something like that. So, but I say that by bailing you out. By that I mean it's like the defense plays phenomenal all game, and it's like you can't just help them out a little bit. It seems, but I agree. I have a feeling that there's going to be something else, going to be some other stupid type mistake, unfortunately, and that's just going to cost the Falcons game. That being said, though, I've kind of pigeoned myself into this corner where I pick the Falcons every single game so far this season, which is why I'm losing to you. Actually, you know what's funny? I'm losing to you by 8 games.
Yeah,
the Falcons' record is 6-8. So if I would have actually picked correctly in all 8 of those Falcons games,
to be fair, they should have won at least 4 or 5 of those.
They should have 10 wins as of right now.
So
they honestly should have locked up the division or close to locked up the division. I would say. By now, which probably makes it even more frustrating. But I mean, that's a separate video. But I'll pick the Falcons. I need to try and come back. That's who I'll be rooting for. We'll be at the stadium. So if you see us, come say hello, make fun of our dad. He'll be wearing blue and white because he's from Indianapolis. So he's adopted. He's our adopted father. So
I would say that.
He's our biological adopted father. We don't know why. Why he's a Colts fan. So, well, you're a Patriots fan. We got a weird family. You're Patriots.
We have a better guess as to why Dad's a Colts fan, you know, because he's from Indianapolis.
That's fair.
As to me, who's a Patriots fan for.
That's true. You're the adopted one, actually.
We look too much alike for me to be adopted.
That's fair. Are we both adopted?
Maybe. Maybe. Yeah. This took a very weird turn here. But if you're still with us, please go ahead and like and subscribe and help Tyler and I reach that goal of getting to 2,333 subscribers. And leave a comment down below on who you think is going to come out ahead in this matchup. Is it going to be the Indianapolis Colts? Is it going to be the Atlanta Falcons? And other than that, we will see you guys next time.